Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Kitacon Declassified. This is a brand new show from Kitacon that will take you behind the scenes of the next Kitacon and more on the journey to Kitacon Undercover. In between the Kitacon focused episodes, we'll be bringing you interviews, special features, and even a little bit of fun and games along the way. I am the Dekker Dane, and I'm joined for our launch episode by the Kitacon chairman himself, Shenny. Shenny, how are you doing?
I'm okay, is the colloquial answer, I imagine, for most of us at this time of year with this busier schedule. So yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. I mean, we're obviously in the tail end of the convention years, events coming kind of thick and fast all over the place. MCM Comic Con in London. Obviously, we've had Hotoricon. I think there's another MCM coming up very shortly in Birmingham. So a lot still going on in the community as we head towards the end of 2025 and into 2026. Yes. So excited for Declassified. This is something new. This is something I would like to say bold and unique, and maybe it will be. We'll find out. But I'm excited for this.
It's been a while since we've done pieces to camera and been open as with the community and stuff. So yeah, it'd be nice to float to pull things out.
Yeah, because I think the last time we kind of did this, I think this was probably all the way back. I don't know if it was Kitacon 3. I don't know if it was Kitacon 4. I think it was Kitacon 4. When I think I did the Kitacon preview show, and I actually did some stuff. So I think I went to one Icon. It was either an Icon or it was definitely an Icon, because around that time Icon was the only convention at the Warwick Arts Centre. And yeah, just doing these various different things. So being able to kind of reopen that up a little bit more and be able to kind of develop and evolve it here on the channel once again. I'm excited. Should be good fun. I think there's a lot to look forward to on this little series as we go towards Kitacon Undercover. In this episode, we'll be doing a quick roundup of all the latest Kitacon announcements. We'll be having a chat about the theme for the next event and a quick fire round of Chairman Q&A with Shenny. So without further ado, let's talk about the Kitacon updates. So our last major announcement was the fact that Kitacon 2026 has a name. It is officially called Kitacon Undercover, as the convention will dive into the world of spies and espionage. Kitacon Undercover will be taking place at the Warwick Arts Centre between the 14th and the 16th of August 2026. And our traditional events are back. We've got Kitacon Got Talent, which is our on-stage talent show where people perform skits, they sing, they dance. I think one of our winners last year won with a sort of Jedi lightsaber display, which was really, really cool. I think you do see that a lot in our advertising at the moment, for even when we had Kitacon 2026 and even Kitacon Undercover. You see the performance right there. We always get some really great performances at Kitacon Got Talent. As well, we've also got a double whammy of cosplay events. We've always got a traditional cosplay masquerade. People showcase amazing cosplays, whether they are just showing them off or taking part in our competition. And we've also got a really cool version of cosplay chess. We really kind of go to town with the technical aspects of it. Our tech team over the years have really enhanced it to really kind of make it immersive, especially with overhead cameras of the chessboard, so you can actually see all the crossover chaos as it happens. So those are some of our more traditional events that we've been having over the years, over the many Kitacons that have been run. But we've got a couple of events that are coming back from 2024, Shenny. Do you want to talk us through those?
Yeah. So coming back are the Kitacon Fashion Show and the Idol Festival, both of which are run by partner groups of ours and friends of ours. So with the Kitacon Fashion Show, it was designed to allow small traders and like members of our community who have small businesses to like show off their apparel and their wares and stuff. And that is currently run by Pinku Cult and Cosmic Boop, who have been members of our community for almost a decade now. And they're doing very well on that front themselves with their own like little business and stuff. So it's really nice to have them bring like their alternative fashion stuff to it. If there's any dealers or anyone in our community that wants to take part and actually like show their stuff, the guys are really, really, really friendly to work with, and they'll be more than happy to work with you on promoting your stuff and getting your stuff on that fashion show. The Idol Festival is a new thing that we did last year, because we wanted to really give a bit more space to the Kaigai idols, so like the overseas idols. Obviously take inspiration from Japan. Fiona ran that for us in 2024, and it was a phenomenal success, just off the back of a simple idea. And and like we'd love to have them again. So we're working on that as well.
So at the moment in time, we have the dates. We have a few of our events announced for it. At this moment in time, pricing and accommodation information is not yet available at this time. We are working at the moment to get that confirmed as soon as possible. But of course, that will go up on all our social channels as well as kitacon.org, which our website there has had a little bit of a refresh. It's been primed for Kitacon Undercover registrations. So if you've previously signed up on the website for the last Kitacon, which was Kitacon Wonderland, you will need to create a new account. And there are now new login options as well. So you can sign up with either your Google or your Discord. And if you're also looking to be part of our dealers room as well, you can set up your own business account there so you have a smooth application process for when these open. Now, this, I believe, will likely be when we launch for standard registrations as well. I think we tend to do it all in one big go as well, don't we?
That's the plan. I mean, we for 24 we opened event registrations and dealer registrations a little ahead of normal attendee registration, just so that we could try and get some content together, get like an overview together of what would be at the event, so that people can make informed decisions when they come to buy tickets. Because that's one of the things that I really want to make sure that we give our community is just like, here is an option, like here is what's happening, right? So like, even if we've got like the basic schedule already down, that's something that I still feel quite passionate about. So the idea is to have them soon. Whether or not we'll be able to publicize them before Reg goes live is still up in the air, but we'll get there.
Okie dokie. Cool. Thank you very much. And yeah, just before we move on, I just want to give a personal shout out to both Ami Chibi and Hatoro-con, who have been amazing to allow us to come to their events and make the announcements for Kitacon Undercover. We did the Kitacon 2026 dates at Ami Chibi. We did the theme release at Hatoro-con. I attended both of these conventions and I had a really good time at both of those. Ami Chibi was a really relaxed vibe. It was a smaller Ami than I'm used to, but I think it actually worked well in its favor. It was very chilled. It was a great sort of atmosphere. I enjoyed myself quite a lot. And it's always fun to go back to like old convention venues. So obviously Northampton Park Inn, or now the Northampton, I'd like to say Mercure, is obviously the location of the first two Kitacons. So it's always a bit fun just going back to new venues and kind of go, or not new venues, going back to old venues and kind of go, oh yeah, I remember the cons that were there as well.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Anyway, as well, and Hatoro-con, who have been running for at least the last 4 years as well. They've been doing an event annually every year up in Milton Keynes. I went to the first one, I think, and this is the second one. So I've only been to 2 out of the 4. Every time I've been to those events, they've been really warm, friendly, excitable atmospheres to be part of. And yes, just over the years, the team, Charlie, Kai, and everyone else who works at Hatoro-con, they've really developed this convention over the years, and it's become an absolute mainstay in the residential scene. And it's really nice to see the newer events like Hatoro, and obviously we've had Kokoro over the years as well, come in, kind of introduce younger demographics of attendees to the convention experience. And hopefully in turn, the people that go to their events will be inspired to build or create the next events that follow after them, or will coincide with them on the circuit. So it's been really, really good. And yeah, I can't speak highly of both Hatoro and Amichibi for their amazing support and kindness for letting us do those announcements at the events. And speaking of Hatoro are actually doing a spin-off event next year in April. And again, we're going back to an old Kitacon location. They are going to be running their event, HarrowieCon, at the Birmingham Hilton Metropole NEC during Easter weekend. So again, I went back to the Metropole earlier this year. I went there twice. I went there for UK Games Expo, and I went there for TF Nation as well. So very contrasting event styles. Go for board games one month, go for Transformers the next. It was quite surreal because I hadn't been at the Hilton since 2016. But yes, in terms of Kitacon news and updates, make sure you follow us on our social channels to ensure you stay up to date with Kita news as it happens, whether it be registration, dealers, events, guests, all that stuff. And talking about Hatoro-con and HarrowieCon, we have put links for their events in the YouTube video description. So if you want to check out their next events, Hatoro 5 in November next year, and of course, HarrowieCon in April, then you can do as well. Right. let's move on. Okay, main point of discussion for this first episode of Kitacon Declassified. Let's talk about themes, and in particular the theme for Kitacon Undercover, which is spies and espionage. So, I think this was kind of like a theme that kind of evolved, I would like to say naturally, or just became more of a reality. I think the longer we kind of talked and kind of had ideas about it, because I think the first time this kind of got pitched, I remember, and correct me if it was wrong, it was me, you, and the Kitacon MC at the moment, Christian, kind of just randomly kind of chatting in the ops room at Kitacon Wonderland, and then I don't know who said Bond. Someone said James Bond or spy sort of thing, and then
Yeah.
and things just started kind of thinking.
Although you did post in our organizer Discord in 2022, here are some ideas. So
Okay.
the number 4 on your list was espionage.
Okay.
So evidently it had been on your mind
For some
since
time.
December of 22. So
oh, wow. Okay. I did not realize that.
So like yeah, so this is the reason why we have that Discord and it archives everything. So we never lose track of our ideas.
Yeah,
we always loop around to them. Yeah,
it's nice having that little channel on our Discord because we have like a little Rolodex of like ideas for themes, because sometimes themes come to us quite naturally. For example, say Kitacon Carnival, which was like circus and festival, fun fair stuff. We landed on that one literally 2 weeks after Back to the Kitacon finished. We were still kind of chatting, we were still buzzing about the event, and we were kind of going, well, obviously we had the event in March because that was the shortest turnaround between Kitacons at that point, and we were just kind of randomly chatting ideas, and then someone just said circus, and everyone's going, yes. We can all have we can do like fun fair, top hats, circus rings, all that sort of stuff. And it just kind of naturally spiraled and naturally kind of blossomed into Kitacon Carnival.
There's a couple of themes that like keep recycling in our brains, which is like the, I don't know, like the ninja samurai pirates thing, which I feel like has been done to death at a million different events now. But sometimes it's nice to go back to them. We didn't really have. I think like we did sort of like the Commonwealth Games Olympic theme because it was like the height of summer, and I think it was one of the years where that was happening. At least in our early planning stages. So the idea to like have our theme and create a theme for our event is always to like, what can we do that would be nice for the community, but also like ties into things happening in the world that are like common zeitgeist elements, like, and I think. I mean, Undercover didn't really come from that aspect, but I think it was more like it came from the campy, like Bond, kitsch, like Austin Powers. It came from that aspect of it. And then a lot of us are just like, I mean, me and you are Mission Impossible fans, so we were like, and espionage and spies and stuff is a broad enough like theme just to be like, well, we can take anything. We can go down like the Mission Impossible Bourne route, or we could go old school Bond, or we could go new school Bond, or, then there's always like Austin Powers, which is on the fringes, which I should get round to watching again to see if they hold up this year. Like,
I can't remember. I can't remember the last time I watched the films. I mean, I kind of in my kind of I would say, wouldn't want to say like tier ranking, or kind of like my appreciation of spy and espionage genres and different types of the spy story. I do appreciate Austin Powers. I've probably kind of aged out of it a little bit because it's just like it's like some of the jokes I do like, some of the practical comedy in it is really, really good, but then it's just like it's just sometimes a bit too saucy. I don't know. It might be me just getting old in that sort of sense.
Yeah. But there's tons of other media stuff that we can pull from for like stuff.
I mean, funnily enough, I mean, we talk about Bond. I think originally, because I think me and Christian went away and we kind of chatted a bit more about it and kind of, well, how it's like, what if we were putting it towards the rest of the committee, what could we do? What could we suggest it as? And I think the name that came up originally was from Kittu of Love, which is kind of like a play on from Russia of Love and so forth. And it's just kind of like, I think over the months we chatted and chatted across the committee as well, because at other events like Manami and Kokoro, we were chatting with other members of the committee to kind of go, okay, if we did it like this and so forth. Even on our Discord channel, it's like just throwing ideas into the ether about how we could develop the theme and so forth. I think the more that went on, being quite broad with the world of spies and espionage seemed to be the right way to go, because as much as a Bond fan myself, as much as I would love to do a fully fledged like Bond themed convention, I appreciate that with our demographics, with the convention demographics as they are, there's a portion that probably just don't necessarily know of Bond, like Bond, or care about Bond. And yeah, Bond's coming back a little bit into the zeitgeist. We've got IO's 007 First Light coming out next year on consoles, which looks amazing in my personal opinion. I'm really excited to play that. So yeah, I think the more we chatted, the more the idea of the broader world of spies and espionage. And I think the way I've kind of walked away, I've kind of penned it in my head, is it's the vibe is fantastical summer blockbuster energy, I suppose. So you've got that spy espionage, but it's just like, it's very fantastical, it's outlandish, it can be silly, it can be strange, but it's also exciting and riveting at the same time. So it's like we're running next summer, so it's technically it's a summer. It's treated like it's a summer blockbuster. It pretty much in that sort of things. And yeah, and obviously we've been talking about how we want to incorporate it. And I'm always a big fan of really getting behind a theme and kind of infusing it with the convention. And we've done that before. We've done that with Invasion, Back to the Kitta, kind of Quest, and even we've done bits and pieces with Wonderland and Returns as well. But I feel, from my point of view, I feel creatively quite alive with this one. I think there is so much to really get your teeth into, whether you're an artist, whether you're a cosplayer, in any shape or form. I think there's a lot of kind of areas you can dive into. Obviously, we've talked about Bond, we talked about Mission Impossible. I mean, we can talk about Spy Family, because obviously that's been a recent anime here. World of Spies and Espionage. For the diehard fans that kind of want to go really in depth into anime, you can look at the World of Assassins. You've got Noir, you've got Gogol 13, you've got Madlax. That's showing a little bit of my old anime knowledge in my head right there. I mean, even fantastically as well. You talk about fantastical action and adventure. You can argue to a degree that Lupin the Third fits that mold a little bit, because Thief, Cops, International, that sort of things. Not necessarily full-on espionage, but the action and the stories and the adventures that you see in Lupin the Third resonate like it's a Bond mixed with Indiana Jones, and like things like Ghost in the Shell, industrial espionage per se. So it's a lot. There's a lot there.
There's, when it comes to any theme, you need to like. I think the hard bit is hitting a theme that resonates with people, and then being broad enough that no one is like stifled creatively by it. You know, like if we did a obviously Returns was very like, it was very like synthwave visually inspired. It didn't really have a theme of its own in that sense, but it inspired a lot of like content that was like cyberpunky themed or like retro themed, and we, you know, like to play on that like synthwave aesthetic, like I DJ'd an 80s night and a synthwave party, you know, like, so even broad themes you can expand out and do stuff with, and create memorable experiences with and stuff like that. And with Espionage, like with Wonderland, actually, with Wonderland specifically, I think we were looking to make a big deal of you know, like the Alice in Wonderland theme, to try and like incorporate that into the events and stuff. And obviously that ended up inspiring people that took part in the burlesque. So the burlesque was also a new thing that we added in 24. You know, and we had Tab's performance as a caterpillar. And then there was also someone who you know, there was very like a Victorian era, which Alice in Wonderland also invokes, because that's the period it's set in. So like Victorian Georgian England. So we had a lot of like people riffing on that. And I think, and obviously like we have our designs for our t-shirts and visual assets and stuff, which riff on like creatively the aspects of Alice in Wonderland and all that goes with it.
In terms of the stuff that I will tend to do, because in terms of opening ceremony, closing ceremony, even the one-off panel that I tend to run over the weekend, it's like I have ideas already, and I've
yeah. I mean, you were very broad when it came to like opening ceremony stuff last year, because it was like Alice in Wonderland themed. There's a rabbit.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
We went into Space Jam.
We went into Space Jam, right? So this is the thing, is like, you set a theme, right? And you can play with that theme as much as you want. You can use it as a riffing point. So what was our opening ceremony? It was a PowerPoint. It was a presentation on the event, which was Alice in Wonderland themed, and then suddenly, welcome to the jam. So, you know, like there's a lot of people can use a lot of the themes creatively. And we're never gonna try and stifle people's creativity in that way. So if you want to use the theme, absolutely go ahead. If you want to ignore the theme and do something, obviously do your own thing, that is more than acceptable for us.
Yeah.
As well. So
yeah, that's the important thing. I mean, basically we even though we are putting forward a theme, it's not a mandatory requirement that people want to get involved. They have to embrace the spy theme per se. That's not right, and that's not fair in the slightest. But it's like, we feel there is fun to be had with this if people are keen to do. But if the people want to be doing other genres and stuff like that, that's absolutely fine as well. And that's the joy. That's the joy of this community. So much different, so many different things. But yeah, when it comes to what I have in mind for Undercover, I think I've got it down to, well, there is definitely one event, which was not really an event. It's something that I think we haven't done before, which I'm kind of piecing together in the lab. Or if I say lab, just piecing together on a giant piece of paper on my notebook at the moment. I'm kind of going, this is what I kind of want to do, but I need to figure out about the logistics and the feasibility. The thing that I will probably say is I'm trying not to do a lot of filming for my panels. If there's any filming, it'll probably be for the opening ceremony. But anything else, I'm trying to kind of think, which is the stuff that's less intensive on a video editing, because I've done a lot of Taskmasters, and I appreciate people's fondness for Taskmasters, but I could do without a little bit of a crunch to get a video edited by the start of a convention. But no, in terms of, so that is one thing that I'm thinking about bringing in for next year. But in terms of my usual main stage thing, I've got 3 ideas. One is kind of a game show. One is kind of a medley of games and madness. And one will be something very different, but I think I need to make sure I have the time to deliver that. So it's like, I'm pretty quick to announce what I'm doing at these conventions very quickly. So I think whatever I end up doing, I think, I'm definitely excited for doing it, and I hope people will enjoy it as well. And the general reaction to the theme when we announced it at Toricon, very positive. I think a lot of people were kind of excited by it as well. So whatever they have planned for cosplays, I'm very looking forward to seeing what artists do for that as well. I can imagine a lot of movie poster parodies, hopefully, or a fusion of a movie poster parody with something exciting about the convention, like a dangerous cosplay masquerade or danger in the dealer's room, that sort of stuff. I think there's a great big canvas for people to have a lot of fun with this theme. Right, let's kick off with some Chairman Q&A, and we start with this one. How is the feedback from Kitacon Wonderland influencing the decisions for Kitacon Undercover?
So when it comes to the feedback we received a lot of positive feedback for a start, which was also really, really heartwarming that people actually took the time to give us good good vibes and feedback on things we did well, which doesn't normally happen with a lot of feedback forms. A lot of feedback is normally very critical, which is also very welcome. And I think that when it came to feedback from Kitacon Wonderland, is that we received a lot of critical feedback with a lot of positive, very actionable things that we could do. So there's just a few things that we're changing just to just to make the whole experience better. So things around obviously pricing is obviously a big concern. So we're trying to be as cost effective as we possibly can in terms of like ticket prices and hotel costs and all that. We're also really focusing on scheduling just to make sure that there's very few clashes and that there's still a wide variety of things that of all interest to go to and see and do. Some of the website stuff will be better. Some of the sort of like the queuing experiences were definitely something that we look to improve on an awful lot. And one of the other big sticking points is that we're going to try and very much focus on creating more visual material around how to get around the new venue, not the new venue, but Warwick itself, because one of the things that we saw from Kitacon Returns and Kitacon Wonderland was that the renovation of Warwick Art Centre makes the building a little confusing for newcomers. So we want to make sure that that's as easy to navigate as we possibly can make it.
So, next up, we have this question. A couple of conventions this year have offered different evening options, like a chill-out lounge, games lounge, and karaoke. Is Kitacon planning to bring any of these next year?
So, I can't speak for specifics or guarantee specifics at this stage because it's still early days. We are looking at bringing karaoke at the very least. But one of the problems we have in terms of people wanting a chill out lounge or a chilled space, specifically play board games, card games, that kind of thing, is that none of our areas go later than 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. That would be suitable. So the Roots building needs to be locked by 11. I think Warwick Art Centre needs to be locked by 10:30. Otherwise, we need to pay for extra hours, which can be quite cost prohibitive and unfortunately makes ticket prices go up. So it's a balancing act between trying to make sure that we give people what they want and sort of what we can feasibly do within budget. And I think that we definitely want to add those areas. And I think that karaoke is a very, very popular event everywhere you go, within the convention space. And I think that if we had that at Kitacon, we might have to sacrifice a party room for it, but I think it'd be very well received across the community. So it's on the cards. I can't guarantee anything at this stage, but we're potentially doing something on those lines. Yes.
Keeping with 2026, have you had any thoughts about guests yet?
So guest questions are a little difficult for us because we're not a guest-focused event. Some conventions, especially sort of like the larger, more commercial ones, they'll invite guests to sell tickets and make them money. Obviously, when it comes to the way that we structure our business, is that all of our money from our ticket sales goes on towards the event. So I would prefer to spend the money on making the event better for absolutely everyone rather than get a couple of guests over that would only appeal to like a small amount of our attendees, because not everyone's interested in voice actors, not everyone's interested in cosplay guests. But we are always open to guests. It's just more finding who would be the right fit and who is within budget is the honest answer that I can give you, really. But like we've never not looked for guests, but it's just more what can we do with the budget that we've got.
Right, we have a question here that actually came from our 2026 dates announced video, and this came on Instagram. This is from, and I apologize if I mispronounce this in any shape or form, Kahairi. And they asked the question, will Kitacon ever go back to being a hotel con?
Ooh. So I don't have any plans to take Kitacon back to a hotel, mainly for two main reasons, really. One of which is that the Warwick Art Centre allows us to do a lot of unique things that other conventions can't do. And the spaces are really malleable. So you've got like a large ballroom, you've got large theatre, you've got malleable spaces up in Roots. We've got two very big SU rooms, in the Students' Union, which does allow us to do an awful lot and provide an awful lot of varied content. I think that if we went back to being in a hotel, we would have to sacrifice panel rooms, panel sizes. We'd have to sacrifice the size of our dealer's room. We'd have to sacrifice a lot that, in my opinion, makes Kitacon quite unique in the event space. And the other reason is that if you're looking for a hotel convention, there are ample of others within our community that I would absolutely recommend you go and check out. So we talked about MHIB, Hataru, obviously Haruhi are coming in April next year. Obviously you had Kokoro, so if you wanted a hotel convention, there are at least 5 other options there, and they're all great. Genuinely all very, very good events, and there are other hotel events that on the periphery that you should also probably look into and check out as well. And then there's events that are completely unique in my eyes. So you obviously have Tokonatsu, which is obviously the outdoor festival side of it for camping enthusiasts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for us, we're one of the few at a residential venue in at a university that offers such a variety of facilities, both to our attendees in terms of where do you want to stay. So you've got big hotel rooms in Radcliffe and Scarman, and then you've got student accommodation for those on cheaper budgets. We've got a very large variety of spaces that we can really, really do a lot with, and that's one of the main reasons why I probably won't move Kitacon back to a hotel venue.
And our last question is, I want to get involved and help with Kitacon. What can I do?
So because we're a community-driven event run by many, many, many volunteers, including myself and everyone on the committee for a start, there's so much that we could use a couple of hours of your weekend with, really. Obviously, if you want to submit a panel, submit an event, create programming, help us create programming for all the attendees attending, that is a wonderful way to get involved. We're always in need of hands for our gophers. So if you're not familiar with our gophers are the workhorse behind the entire event. They graciously give up their time to make sure that all the events run on time, that everyone is hydrated in the dealer's room. They really do run pretty much every convention. And if you can only spare a couple of hours a day, or just a couple of hours across the weekend, we would be more than grateful for those, just to help us queue manage, do all the boring things and do all the unfortunately events need to do. But if you want to get involved with Kitacon in any other aspect, in terms of media promotion, photography, the best bet you can do is send us an email at info@kitacon.org, and I will point you in the right direction and the right person to speak to, and then we can always have a chat about anything else that you might want to bring to the table.
And that's all we have time for on this episode of Kitacon Declassified. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Do give us a thumbs up if you did. We're aiming to have episodes out every couple of weeks, so expect our next Declassified in December ahead of Christmas. And if you want episodes of Kitacon Declassified to appear in your YouTube feed as soon as they're released, hit the subscribe button. It's completely free to do so. If you want to get in touch with Kitacon, you can send an email over to info@kitacon.org. And you can also stay connected with us via Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and more with the social media handles on screen now. So from me, the Dekker Dane, and Shenny, the Kitacon chairman, stay safe, enjoy your anime, and be on the lookout for the next edition of Kitacon Declassified. Until next time, catch you soon.